All right, we're here. We're here.
So how you're doing?
Oh man, okay. So we know how you typically like to have your chronicles. Now it's my turn. All
Uh-oh.
right. So essentially, okay, so for those of you who don't know, like in our neck of the woods, apparently there was a huge storm last night. However, your boy here probably got the best sleep of his life because I heard none of it. I heard nothing. I was just passed out. You want to know why I passed out? Because we had our first lifesaver practice post Comic Palooza, and as such, we had 5 new recruits. And you want to know what the leads decided to do that day? They had me take over. They had me lead the entire class. So as such, and they let me know about this when I got there. So I had zero time to prep, zero time to make myself known to the good peoples. But in any case, it's fine because I still rocked everybody and I had to run everybody's pockets afterwards. Yes, the Sith was strong in me that day, even though I'm a Jedi. But the dark side was coursing through my veins, and I didn't get home till like midnight.
Mm.
So I just passed out. and and apparently it was the best sleep of my life because I could not hear the storm, but consequently, I could not hear my alarm. And you all know those like random points in time where you just like, huh, the amount of sleep I'm getting is real suspicious. Like, hold on, I feel like I've been sleeping a little too long. Check the phone. Alarm is the alarm is going off, but it was apparently on silent. So I heard nothing. So yeah, that's how my morning's been going.
Jeez, that's brutal. But let's do this one more time, but different people.
I'm Demetrius,
I'm Demetrius,
and Meech and Meech presents.
the Blurred City podcast. So we're so excited. We are talking about, I don't even want to spoil it, but it's one of the greatest movies that I've ever seen in my lifetime. We are talking about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse movie review season. A lot coming up. June is just a big month for us with our movie reviews going into July. Also a big time just with the different things that we have planned so far. But yeah, we're jumping right into it because there's a lot to cover in this one. So let's hit us with the legal spiegel.
All right, so the purpose of this podcast is to explore digital and print media. All sources we reference are owned by their respective companies, and our thoughts and opinions are strictly our own and reflect no biases of corporate agendas. Your discretion is advised.
Yes. So usually for a podcast, we have the Rogue Jedi and then we also have the Fallen Shinigami. But for this podcast, we have the Superior Spider Meech and Spider-Man 95. So we're excited. We're going to get into what's hot.
All right, so this is your boy Superior Spider Meech. We coming at you live with this what hot. Let's go ahead and get it out the way. I'm going in order from normal to what I'm most excited about. Let's get it. All right, so starting off in the anime sphere, the anime scene, we're still going crazy. We have to talk about our boy Thorfinn in the Vinland Saga. He Demon
Yes.
Slayer. The animation still staying out of pocket. I apologize to the animators' families. But y'all sacrifices for it's for the greater good. All right. And then we got ourselves One Piece again. I'm sorry for your animators and y'all's families, but y'all sacrifice goes to the greater good, and a certain thing is about to come up very soon. So I'm getting hyped about it. All right. So now let's go ahead and move on to the movie sphere. All right, we got ourselves a bunch of movies that's about to come out, and most of it we're gonna cover on the podcast. We have ourselves The Flash. That Oppenheimer and the Barbie movie are both coming soon. And I am unironically going to see both. And then of course we got ourselves Indiana Jones. That's coming out soon as well. And then of course Transformers, Rise of the Beasts. We get to see our boy Optimus Prime and Optimus Primal. Hopefully nothing racial goes on in these movies, but we just have to wait and see.
We got to wait for the blackening.
Yep. Yep, and that's what I was gonna mention last was the blackening. The blackening is about to be some wild dumb fun. I know I'm gonna cry. And these are not tears of sadness. These are not tears of fear. This is gonna be tears of me just cackling the whole time, and just I'll just be in tears. It's gonna be that type of movie, and I'm gonna die from it. Make
Mhm.
sure that paramedics are on standby because I ain't making it. Um, but now let's just rip the band-aid off. Let's go into the comic sphere because I am in a whole nother plane of existence right now. As you know, like the sponsing, they still doing that thing. They still doing great. Death Child #2 dropped and it's been sent out to people. I already got my copy, so I'm good there. And now we talking about Marvel and the Summer of Symbiotes. Everything's going pretty good for everybody except for the main characters of certain shows. Yeah, so the Summer Symbiotes is going and it's going strong. I'm sorry to all of our Peter Parker fans. Just RIP to y'all. Yep, y'all suffering, but we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later. But the real thing, and I sent this to you,
Yes, you
and
did.
I was in tears when I found out. See, this year is special. This is the 10-year anniversary of Superior Spider-Man. Our boy Otto Octavius, when he decided to go full Black Air Force and steal Parker's body. 10 years, I know, which means it's been 10 years since I got back into comics. So, and as such, it's been announced that Dan Slott will be returning to give us more Superior.
Oh boy. Oh
Uh,
boy.
to let you guys in again, as I say, this is 10 years since I got back into comics. See, like before then, like I just maybe had like a random Spider-Man issue and then like the first issue of Ultimate Spider-Man. That was it. I did not read any comics growing up. I did not like do any of that. And then like in high school, like 10 years ago, which is kind of crazy,
I know.
is when I learned like, oh, Peter Parker's dead? Wait, Otto Octavius is Spider-Man? Wait, what? Huh? And then I just had to go and read it, and next thing you know, I'm back in there, boys.
Peak.
It was peak, and that was my first exposure to Ryan Stegman of all people. So that lets you know, like that's where my journey began with my guy, and as such, and now we're here 10 years later. Deeply entrenched in the lifestyle, and Superior Spider-Man is back.
All
Just
right. So with that, just to speed run so we can get straight into it. A couple of with movies, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the official trailer for Mutant Mayhem dropped. Very excited for it. The cast and voice acting seems really fun. Also, a few shows that were kind of prestige TV, if you will, ended. Barry had its series finale. Also, Succession had its series finale. And then Ted Lasso had a season 3, potentially series finale as well. And then also in gaming, we have Street Fighter 6, which I believe came out last week as well. One other thing that's what's hot, it is, well, by the time people hear this, the next day is the official birthday of the podcast. We've made it 1 year. Man, what a journey. What a
uh,
journey.
oh man, what can I say? I'm deeply appreciative of the entire team. And by team, I mean just the two of us. And so the duo, the Goku and the Vegeta, the Anakin and the Obi-Wan, the we the inseparable two, and I'm really appreciative to the audience for sticking with us for a whole year as we've gone through trials, tribulations, equipment,
Software.
software, and just more equipment.
Yes, I'm very grateful we've gotten to do 3 seasons so far with my brother. I just remember sending that text out to you and didn't know it would take us this far. I'm looking forward to however long this goes till the wheels falls off. So with
Or I
that,
get it canceled.
We're also on episode 46, so we have 4 more episodes till we hit episode 50, another milestone. So with that, we're going to get into Spider-Verse pre-spoiler chat. Anything we want to touch on before we jump into it?
All right, main thing you need to know is that this is picking up right after Into the Spider-Verse. You really don't need to see anything else for the most part besides that movie. This is like, and this is just a two of a three-part trilogy. So yeah, that's all I have, all I can say
All
without
right.
spoiling.
All right, people. If you have not seen Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, jump ahead to at some point, maybe when we get into our Spidey talk after, but for the next however long, we're going to get into the full spoilers of the entire Spidey cinematic universe, starting in 3, 2, 1. Oh my goodness. This movie, this is the one time where, for listeners, me and Mitch don't see movies together. That way, when we like do our reviews, like all of our reactions are pure. This is the one where I so appreciated that we didn't see it together, but at the same time, I wanted to see it with you because there were so many moments where I was like, I know he is leaping up in his theater doing cartwheels down the aisle. Oh my goodness.
You don't understand, bro. You do not understand what I was doing in that theater. I'm pretty sure I was annoying everybody in it, but I didn't care. I did not care at all because this movie was heat. Heat, I tell you.
Bro, I don't know if we want to do this now or we want to do this later, but I counted a few Venom teases. I don't know how many, I'm going to say the three. I don't know how many you actually caught, but I caught three. So we had obviously the one with Spot. We're going to get into it with the different universe hopping. We had the second one with the webs where it shows like, oh, sometimes it's bad, and it showed the comic panel of how Venom got started. And then the third one, I saw Agent Venom. I don't know if you saw any others.
Nope, those were the main three. Those were the
Yes.
main three, and that was it. I was like, that was all I needed.
Yes. All right, so oh my gosh, here we go. Breaking it down, starting off, it started with Gwen Stacy and her alternate universe. And let me just tell you, the artwork in this movie is beautiful. So we start with Gwen Stacy in her universe, just like opening it up, and we kind of goes into her backstory. So in the previous one, we learned that Peter Parker died, but we don't know the circumstances. Essentially, it turns out he was the Lizard, and so like in it as like it was kind of like a callback to like any other Spider-Man movie where they accidentally kill the person that they know. Turns out the dad walks in and it's just like, oh man, you killed him.
Poor Stacy.
Yeah, that was tough to start with. So then moving forward, they're kind of on the outs, don't really talk anymore. So then we have a vulture come in, but it's not a vulture of this earth. It's like a paper mache looking vulture, if you will.
Italian Renaissance type of vulture.
So with that, she does battle. She's like, oh, this doesn't make sense. And then all of a sudden, Spider-Man 99 comes in.
2099. Oh my Lord.
So he comes in trying to fix things. Then we also get, is it Jessica Drew, right?
Yep.
The Spider-Woman. And she's pregnant and she's on a bike and it's so fire, man. And so like we don't need to like jump into it, but essentially like her dad finds out that she is Spider-Gwen, and then she goes with the other two spiders into like the spider portals in the dimensions. Well, what was so incredible about this movie, just like with the start, this is like the first 15 to 20 minutes, I would say. And it was perfectly fine. Like at no point watching it was I like, hurry up and get to Miles, hurry up and get to Miles, hurry up and get to Miles. Like, oh my gosh, it's so good. And then we get to Miles.
Yep. So the main thing I want to talk about with this scene were actually just two things. Firstly, just how comic accurate they got Gwen's origin. I'm pretty sure my pal Abigail of KLC Press was leaping in her chair watching it, just knowing just how screen accurate it was. And then the other part was just Miguel's mention of Doctor Strange and that nerd from Earth 1999-999. In case you guys don't know, that's MCU Spider-Man.
Yes.
And as such, that was the first time we get mention of our live action verse in going into this movie, which I'm just like, oh no. At first, I did not know how far it was gonna go. And then we cut to Miles. So Miles, of course, he doing his thing. He's being Spider-Man. And as Spider-Man, of course, he's always late to his appointments, late to his meetings, while trying to fight the Spot. And the Spot is actually pretty. He hilarious. I'm not even gonna hold you. He
At
quite funny.
first.
He quite funny initially. Like I'm like he's the type of guy who I would just sit down with. I was like, bro, I just need to hey, listen, let's get a cup of coffee, my guy. I just need to know about you because he was hilarious. But yeah, and of course he's calling Miles his nemesis, and Miles is like, bro, I don't know you like that, bro. Uh, and then with that, of course, another big thing about Miles in this moment, as he's like dealing with everything, dealing with the Spider-Man school balance, is his feelings for Gwen and how he deeply misses her. And I'm just like,
And she misses him. That's what the first opening scene implied.
yep. It implies that she misses him too. So we're just like, we going here. Okay, my boy. But yeah, so essentially like he fights the Spot and then he goes up to have a meeting with his I guess college advisor with
Yeah.
his parents. And of course it don't go over so well because Miles be Milesing. Miles is channeling his inner Peter Parker, by just disappearing and just going out to be Spider-Man and shirking his human responsibilities, which I'm like, yeah, that's about right. And then like he goes out to try to fight Spot again, and then his dad shows up, and he's just like, oh no. So like they end up fighting at Alchemax, which then is revealed like what this man's story is. If you guys remember from Into the Spider-Verse, there was a moment where Peter and Miles, they were like at the lab getting chased by Doc Ock, right, with the computer. And then Miles just throws a bagel at a random guy. And then it literally cuts to that guy getting hit with the bagel and it actually says bagel. Yeah, this guy becomes the Spot. So I'm just like, hey, yo, I'm dying. and eventually he ends up getting sucked inside one of his own portals. So
yeah, that was crazy. Like when he was like, yo, I'm your nemesis, because I've seen this twice because it's that great of a movie. So like the first time I was like, yo, why nobody knows who you are, fam? Like you're talking about nemesis. We only had one Spider-Man movie so far. Like, is there something I'm supposed to know about? Are you like from an alternate dimension? And then like you fought that previous Miles? That's what I was thinking. And then like when they get into the backstory, like when they showed the bagel again, I was weak. So just really with that, we're gonna get into like the villain of it all, but like and how like that kind of ties into the story. But man, just the shirking of the responsibilities and then how it so seamlessly transitions from there, where it's like, hey, his mom Rio is like, did you order the cake? And then no, but we can't skip the conversation he had with his dad as Spider-Man.
Yeah, so after he gets sucked into the portal, basically Spider-Man, I'm just gonna call him Spider-Man, like whenever he's in the mask, he and his dad end up talking essentially all about like, hey, I don't want essentially like, hey, I'm just going through it right now. Like I don't want, like, there's my son Miles. In fact, you actually act just like him. You remind me so much of him. Like, no, I'm pretty sure he's just a cool kid. But no, Miles trying to do his best deep man voice.
Yes.
And with that, he ends up saying like, okay, so essentially like what's going on is like this boy, he growing up so fast, and like I don't want to lose him. I don't want like him to fall with the wrong crowd, because like he has so much potential, but like he seems to be making, like, he's really smart, but he makes really stupid decisions. And I'm just like, yeah,
it's so interesting because we're going to get into it when we get in our deeper conversation on Spider-Man, but to like that parallel between Gwen and her dad, and then immediately with Miles and his dad, it's just like opening it up, because we don't often see in superhero movies, it's a lot of like unresolved daddy issues, aka Iron Man. And like, you know, us loving anime, there's no such thing as a dad in anime. So they almost always get isekai. So just like seeing that dynamic play out was really cool in that conversation. So man, and then so like with that moving forward, he's supposed to go get the cake. But again, like you said, Spider-Man responsibilities always get in the way of that. So he's late to his dad's party because his dad is becoming captain, which is something that is innocuous at first, but going later into the movie, it's like, oh, okay. So like he's late to the party, beefing with his parents, and then he gets grounded essentially because like it's just like he can't tell them who he is, and it will like explain everything because he's afraid that you know they hate him, not love him anymore.
Yeah, like this was kind of a bit rough because it's like at this point, like as fans, you like, bro, just tell them. And
Mm-hmm.
but then there's always that part is like you always think of that one excuse is like, man, what if like all my enemies like they get to my loved ones? And that's kind of like what Miles is feeling, but also like it's just like you just don't understand. You don't understand what I'm going through. It's like, bro, if you don't tell them what it is, they won't know what you're going through.
But
But,
it's yeah,
but at the
yeah.
same time, he's 15. So
Yes. But it's crazy because it's like what we talked about. I remember there in the Valentine episode where it's like, okay, telling your crush about whatever. And like some people get like super terrified of doing it. But it's so relatable because all you have to do is replace, oh, I'm Spider-Man with whatever, not secret, but thing that you're keeping from those that you care about, those that you love that you can't explain to people. And that's so relatable, even though like you're not a superhero. So like going forward, we see that the portal opens and Gwen steps out and we start celebrating in the aisle with that. So she's just basically it's months after like we initially see her at the beginning of the movie. We don't know how time kind of goes in the Spider-Verse. They don't explain that. They don't really need to. It's not much of a problem to me. So with that, she's been part of the squad for months. And she's like, hey, Miles, you want to get out of here? And an award that will be coming later ensues.
yep, because he's like, oh man, I would, but I'm grounded. But and she's like, oh dang, can Spider-Man come out to play it? And he's like, oh, bet. But before that, of course, she like takes a look at his surroundings. She sees like a whole like action figure in a case, and this part hurt my soul because she opened the package of this limited edition toy. I'm just like, oh, Gwen, baby, what are you doing? And you see that same look on Miles' face, like, no, that was gonna be worth millions. And then she takes a look at his notebook,
His Bowser book.
bro. And first she sees like pictures like he draws of like his parents, Uncle Aaron, and then of her and other spider people, and then of her, and then of her, and then of her. And it's like, hey yo. But
Fiending.
it's like fiending. He was thirsty. He was starving. He was starving. But that's the reason why he decided to say, you know what? Forget being grounded. I'll deal with that later. And
Mhm.
decides to go out with baby girl on a swinging competition, if you will. They're just
Yeah.
swinging together, but at the same time, though, Gwen just disappears and does something, and apparently does something that looks a bit really shady. Like she just places a camera in front of an innocuous like apartment building, and then she goes right back to Miles, and then they just hang out at the party. To which then some emotional cringe just purely happens because as Miles and Gwen, like, of course they well, before then they're just talking on they're talking on a gargoyle upside down looking over the city,
That scene is beautiful.
beautifully animated, beautifully. And they're just talking about just life and just how difficult it is being a spider and just how much they really connect and how like she and like they like pretty much they're pretty much the same, even though like they're from different universes, they're still the same. And you just like, and then they end up like scooching next to each other, and you're just like, oh my goodness. And then it
Yes.
and then it cuts to them at the party where again emotional cringe ensues because if you're like anybody when you're trying to rizz up a girl, the last thing that you need happening is your parents getting involved. Good heavens. Just take it over because I just can't.
Okay. So before we get into that, a little bit of Black Air Force energy we need to have. Do we want to keep up our war with Avatar, our one-sided war, real quick?
Of course, the smoke is never to be ducked.
Okay. The animation in this movie and the visuals are so much better and more artistically creative than Avatar: The Way of Water. It's
Wait.
not even close. Yes.
Not even because with these, like, the way that it's animated, like the art styles, like they match it with various universes. You get to see like the emotions of certain characters through how the scene is animated. Like, for example, at the beginning when Gwen was just basically in her room, like just reminiscing with her dad, like, and you see like it just starts fading and starts like becoming like tears, like as wet paint, and you're just like, oh yeah, nah, she going through it right now.
And much like darker tones. So yeah, where this one felt like artistic creativity flowing, Avatar Way of Mid felt like a science experiment. So moving forward, like you said, the cringe of parents assisting in the Riz game. So with that, they don't scare her off because she has to go on a mission because she gets an alert on her watch meet. You seem like you have a story you want to tell with that, but
we're not talking about that because I don't know if my parents listen to this or not. But if y'all are, you know what y'all did.
Moving forward. So with that, she has to dip out. She goes to go see like the spot because he's an anomaly that something happened. And then also Rio, she has a really just good conversation with Miles about they really love him. They just don't want him to go down a bad path because from their perspective, it looks like he's doing something shady because he's always late. He's not getting as good of grades as he is skipping school. Like, we have the perspective of Miles, so we understand that. But seeing it from their perspective, if someone in your life was doing that, you'd be like, okay, that's kind of weird. So she then tells him to go after Gwen. Gwen is in the apartment of Spot, and apparently, like, he needs more holes. It's because he's making everyone uncomfortable. So with that, actually, one of the scenes that early on, so he's able to, when he kicks himself into himself, he's able to go into different dimensions. So as we mentioned, he goes into the Venomverse, talks to Mrs. Chen, talks to her. Then he goes into the Lego universe, which had my theater rolling with that. And the first is like the OG comic kind of universe style. So he goes to a place with colliders and alchemics. And then so when, in a really funny scene, Spider-Man, he goes, Spider-Man, he goes into his like invisible mode, sees Gwen just like replaying the whole thing. Jessica Drew, our Spider-Woman, she pops up. She's like, hey, how's it going? Checking in. And then so she's like, oh, I messed up. So we see that he's going to those different places so he can power up. And then there's an explosion that occurs. So she's like, hey, you need to clean this up. Did you really go see Miles? You weren't supposed to. So this entire time, her mission was to go see Spot, but she ended up seeing Miles because that's her friend and she loves him. Let's be honest. So with that, she's like, I won't see him again. So she dips off to follow Spot. Miles is left with a choice, go back to just like normal life or go after the girl you love. And he chose right. So then we get into Mumbattan.
Oh yeah, we going to India today as he goes into the Spider-Man India verse. And that's where the Spot is located at. And you see it's basically just Manhattan but India. So and then like you get to meet Spider-Man India. And essentially like he just spouts out like his story, which is just Peter Parker's, but in India. Just like the comic book origins, with the only difference being that he's a lot more attractive. He got that good hair. He got that good build, and he got that good girl.
And that costume is sick, fam.
Yes, it is. So essentially, the three of them, of course, Gwen is just like, Miles, what you doing here, fam? Did you follow me? I'm like, is it really following? I was like, Miles, you taking a little. That's mad stalkerish, my guy. But yeah, so they have to end up like going together to basically try to stop Spot from you know, getting the Hadron Collider and becoming more powerful. And unfortunately, it doesn't work out well for them because he basically, because Spot is now like more powerful. He has much more control of his spots. So he's able to cause some actual havoc.
Yes.
Like he's able to teleport like spider people into each other, teleport people just wherever he wants them to, teleport punches to the person who's delivering the punch, which is kind of mad crazy. And then he traps like Miles and crew behind a force field. And Miles thinks like, okay, this gives me a chance to use my new Venom powers to try to like basically absorb the energy of the shield. And then comes him.
Yes.
Let's get into Hobie Brown.
Spider-Punk himself.
Coming in hot. And he was pure anarchy. I could barely understand a word he was saying, but it didn't matter because he is him.
I mean, goodness.
And he just steamrolls through the force field. Basically tries to give Miles a few times like, hey, use your palms next time, young blood. And just starts running roughshod on Spot with his guitar. And you get into his origins and how he's essentially his origins exactly like the comics, where he essentially comes from a universe built on corporations, and he's just basically an anarchist.
Yes.
He doesn't follow the system. He does whatever he wants.
Yeah, I really loved his introduction because they kept teasing. They're like, Hobie throughout like earlier. And like Miles was like, wait, you stayed at his place? You stayed at his universe? Then even Spider-Man India was like, oh, he doesn't know about Hobie? And then so with that, you're like, oh man, is Spider-Punk going to be an op? But it turns out he's not, man. I really loved him like in the original comics run when they did like the first two Spider-Man crossover series with the Spider-Verse. So I'm super happy that he was not an op. But with that Spot, he gets the collider. And then in it's like this scene where it's like it explodes, and then Miles, he kind of like sees two alternate reality like universes, both in black and white. And it's like he sees Spider-Man India's girlfriend's dad trying to save the kid, but he also sees his dad at the same time. And he's like, yo, what's going on? And then Spot is like, that's our future. I'm out, deuces. And then with that,
take everything you love.
Yeah. So then like the building falls, and it's just like one of the coolest shots where they tried to save the building. And then there's just like the four of them side by side to save everybody.
Yeah.
This movie.
I tell you, it looked basically, they were trying to do the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man with the whole building and four of them. It did not work out well at all. But
no, but yeah. With that, so then Spider-Man India, he's trying to save his girlfriend who's on a bus, and then I immediately thought of the bus and then Green Goblin from the first one. But then the dad, it's like what Miles Morales just saw. It's where he's trying to save a kid. So he's about to go, and then Gwen holds him. She's like, please don't do it. Miles, be careful. And like when you see it the first time, you're like 100% like, oh, she's just trying to save him because it's very dangerous. And like right before she gets a message about a canon event. And I don't know what that is before like they explain it later. But then Miles Morales is able to save the dad. And then it's like, okay, everyone's a hero. We're happy. And then like a quantum portal just like opens up, and Spider-Man India's like reality is starting to shatter. And then transitioning from there, we go into Jessica Drew is mad, and she's like, yo, Miguel wants to talk to all y'all real quick.
Ooh, oh, it ain't looking good. Because when Jessica mad, she mad. And like her and just like a bunch of other spider scientists. One of them was actually the Future Foundation Spider-Man. Just saying.
Yes.
Yep. So we finally get to see that boy, and they do their best to try to close that hole, and then they all get shunted into this new reality, if you will, and in this reality, this is where the Spider Society resides, and this is where I just started just geeking all the way out,
I know
just
you were.
because you just see a bunch of the spider characters, all from all the entire fandom, the entire comics book sphere. I'm just like, is that you? I'm like, oh, hold on, is that you? I'm like, hold on, is that who I think it is?
The first time I missed the Insomniac Spider-Man because like it was behind like the things. Like I just saw the title, but I couldn't see him. And then the second time I was like, oh, that is him.
Yeah, and he was animated like the game.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like the characters, wherever universe they spawn from, they're animated exactly like this. And case in point, as you said, Insomniac Spider-Man, because as they're walking through, it's like, oh yeah, these are a bunch of villains who fell through, and these are people who they need to get sent back. And then Miles just looks at one in particular,
Yes.
and then this man turns around, and I died.
Yes.
I died immediately because it was Donald Glover as the Prowler.
Yes.
And he just looking at it. What you looking at? And we're just like, ow, like, and this is the live action one. So
yeah,
like, yo, MCU bro, my MCU Miles, R.I.P. Peter, R.I.P. Tom Holland. It's over.
Yeah, when I saw Peter Parker, I almost flipped out. This movie is incredible. So we got to move forward. We got to move.
Yeah, we got to keep moving. Okay, so and then like while they're moving on, they end up meeting Miles end up meeting another girl named Spider Bite, who essentially comes from a VR reality, and we could tell like there was something going on. Like the unspoken Riz was crazy.
Gwen saw it too.
Yep. It was kind of crazy. It was kind of crazy. I'm not even gonna hold you. As he's going on, we see like many more spiders. We see spectacular Spider-Man, Josh Keaton with that animation. And you see Spider-Man Unlimited from the
yes, that was the one.
I'm like, please. Come back. Give me more.
If we saw that together, we would have got kicked out of the theater because we would have just been pointing them off.
I would have fought security. I'd be fighting the entire time just to say, like, bam, 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 bang, bang.
So then we see Hobie pulling a rocket and he's like finessing different pieces, and you're just thinking, oh, it's him being his anarchist self. And let me tell you, his animation is sick too because he has like the stitch work from the art, kind of like that 80s London rock style. So then we see Batman again, Spider-Man 2099, just brooding and coming down slowly from his cave. But then we kind of do see like with that situation, he explains to Miles like, hey, this is the second time you done caused like a portal in the multiverse a threat like that. And then he's just kind of explaining like a canon event, which I will also call an incursion. And I'll say later why we call it that. So with that, he explains that, hey, the dad was supposed to die on the bridge. And so with that canon event, it's the different things that connect. And again, they show like the Spider-Mans that we know and love. They show, they're like, hey, we all lost on it. So we see like a Tobey Maguire holding Uncle Ben. We see like, oh, the captains, they all of us have held a captain trying to save a child. We see Amazing Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield. Miguel explains that if you break a canon event, so like he went to this world where the other Miguel died, he was happy, so he replaced that Miguel, had a daughter and everything, and it ended up causing an incursion, and that entire timeline got wiped.
Yep, and don't forget Peter B. Parker in the first movie pops back up, living his best life with that pink fleece robe. And he a whole dad now with Mayday Parker. Yes, if you know who that is. Woo!
Mephisto knows.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. But Mayday Parker with her spider powers just causing a little bit of mayhem, but is adorable. Yep, Peter B is a whole dad. But yes. Keeping on going. Yeah, essentially Miguel just explains how like how Miles is essentially like, hey, everybody gonna die, like all the captains die. And then we remember, wait, and Miles remembers, wait, my dad's becoming a captain. and then all the Spider-Man just surround him.
That scene, the way they played the music, it got darker. Oh my gosh.
Bro, it was just like some pure despair going on because Miles like, hold on, my dad's about to become a captain. Is this about to happen? And then just unfortunately, they're just like, yeah, it's like when in about 2 days or so. And like Miles, he freaking out. He's like, no, I need to go stop him. I need to go stop it. I need to go save my dad. And Miguel trying to explain, no, you cannot. We can't save everybody. He's like, no, I'm Spider-Man. I can save everyone. I can try to save everyone and the multiverse at the same time. And he's like, no, you cannot. And then puts Miles in a force field.
What was crazy about that scene, and something that like thinking about is that Miguel was mentioning all of us share a certain like trauma points, and it's crazy because this is, I mean, it's kind of mild spoilers, but like with Miles, his original run, his mom died because of your boy. So
yeah, Venom, baby. Wait, whoa, hold on. That ain't my boy. It wasn't Eddie Brock Venom. It wasn't Eddie Brock. It was unfortunately another black man, but we don't talk about that.
So his mom dies because of that. In the Spider-Man game, his dad dies because he's a captain trying to save someone. And then in the movie verse, his uncle dies. So it's like every Spider-Man, there's always like a trauma, there's always like a big loss. And it's not, and the way they connected that to the other ones, where it's just like, hey, it's not we're just killing people off to kill them off, except for the new comic run, but we'll talk about that later. But with that, it's like it's a shared trauma that makes us Spider-Man, spider people, spider beings, and that was so incredible. So then Miles is able to break out. Hobie is like, yo, I quit, I'm out. And then just like that chase scene, there's one part where all the characters, who's the Spider-Man with like the backpack and like those arms?
That was Spider-Man 2299.
Oh, I like
so he's
that
supposed
one.
to be even further from the future than Miguel.
And then, the Scarlet Spider, that one was so cool.
No, that was hilarious because he was such an edgelord, like he was in the comics.
Yes.
I'm like, they could not have gotten Ben Reilly so perfectly to encapsulate that entire 90s. Oh my goodness.
So then they had Web Slinger, there was Spider-X, there's the Spider Cat, a few other ones. Oh, and then also like in that scene where they're surrounding him, we see Penny is back, and she has an upgrade.
Yep, it was the actual comic accurate Spider, SP dash DR, the Spider.
Oh man, so then once he kind of semi-escapes, Peter B. Parker is talking to him with Mayday, and he's just like, hey, I'm trying to explain things. Oh, also in this, they don't tell him about that part yet, but they kind of just like say that you're messing things up. And there is a slight mention that the spider is from a different universe. They don't talk about the next part until later in the fight. But then with that, Miles escapes. He fights Miguel, and this is the scene from the trailer where we were all like, "Oh wait, Miguel is an op." Where he's
motivated.
Oh my goodness, he beat the crap out of him. So then we learn that not only is like they can't send Miles back because he's going to break a canon event, but it's the fact that the spider that bit him, which is mentioned 3 times in the movie prior, is from Earth 42. So that means that Earth like doesn't have a Spider-Man, is what Miguel tells him. And you were never meant to be Spider-Man because, and then also not only were you not meant to be Spider-Man, the Spider-Man of your universe would have stayed alive. He would have stopped Kingpin instead of saving you. So like his death is on your hands along with this entire mess. And also, this is the reason why nobody could visit you because you're an anomaly. And then he finds out that Gwen and Peter B know.
Yeah, which is it was kind of heartbreaking. And also, just to mention another heartbreak was like earlier when it was during the chase, Gwen does like try to web up his chest. And then they just look at each other. And then you just see a just huge disappointment in Miles's eyes as he just rips the webbing off of him and continues on. But yeah, this was just pure pain and despair on his face when he realized I was not supposed to be Spider-Man. And it's like, dang, it's like you messed everything up. But like it truly galvanized Miles even more to where he's like, you know what? Screw you.
Yeah.
Screw all you spider people.
Yes.
I'm gonna do me now. And then he just venom blasts Miguel, because at this point they're going vertically up on a rail line. So
Mm-hmm.
he blasts Miguel off, and then they're all like, where are you gonna go? Like, what are you gonna do, Miles? Like, stop being irrational. It's like, was it irrational getting all you spider people
HQ,
away from the
yeah.
base? Boom! And he just dives off and just heads straight for it. I'm just like, this man,
Like,
this boy right here, growing up.
also, just with that, this kind of what was so good about it, it also amplified the threat that Spot is. Because a lot of the times we see a villain, and it's like, oh, a villain makes the movie, a villain makes the movie. And it's like Spot is like, he's silly from the beginning. And then he gets a bit of a glow up. And you're like, okay, the spiders are going to team up, they're going to stop Spot. But it's like, there's a canon event in which your dad dies because of Spot. You can't stop that from happening, or you're going to destroy the multiverse. That is insane because you now made Spot an even bigger threat. Where it's like, okay, he can take him out, and just wow,
And don't forget the attitude change from Spot too, to where
yes.
now because of his upgrades, because normally he's pure white with just black spots. No, then when he gets his upgrade, it inverts, so like he's purely black with
Spot black.
I hate you. With just white penciled in spots, and he starts talking wildly crazy. He talking real spicy and real like just gonna take everything you love. Like he became an eldritch abomination at that point. So yeah, Miles he in a heap of trouble, but yeah, cutting to him like he's at the back at HQ. He managed to avoid everybody, and then using his invisibility, he's able to trick Spider Bite and essentially activates the machine, because there's a machine that sends people back to their respective universes. Mm-hmm. And Miles he activates it and then uses it on himself. And then this part kind of, you know what, I'm not gonna say the spoiler, but I'm gonna tell you afterwards, because I saw that part coming, and there's two reasons why I saw that part coming, but I'll just say that for after I tell you the spoiler. So he ends up it scans him, and then it starts trying to transport him back to the universe. Mm-hmm. And of course you see Miguel just coming in like a demon.
Oh, fiend. Also, because I know Miguel from the games, not the comics. He almost vampire bit Vulture at the beginning. Oh, so yeah. You saw how demon time he was.
Yeah, and that's actually part of his powers, because unlike the others where they just get bit by a spider, he actually has his DNA spliced with a spider. So that's why he has all them talons and claws, and that's why he actually has vampiric-esque teeth, and his eyes are sensitive to light. I don't know what part of that comes from a spider, but that's neither here nor there. And he tries to just claw his way to Miles to try to stop him, but it don't work. And there was a moment where Spider-Bite, she could have stopped it from happening, but she looks at Miles and she looks at the button. Then she looks at Miles and she longingly stares at Miles, and then Miles just puts on his mask and then disappears.
The prior Riz.
I'm saying that Riz was unmatched, my guy. But and then he gets transported. So of course, after all that, everybody's in a tussle, in a hissy fit, and then Miguel just goes Gwen, this is your fault, and as such, you got to go.
You're out of here.
And he just pretty much forcibly sends her back to her universe. Mm-hmm. And as such, because she gets kicked out, her wristband communicator that allows her to transport through universes. It stops working. And then Miguel decides to say, like, hey, listen. Because, like, at the end of it, Gwen says, like, we're supposed to be the good guys. And then
Mhm.
after she disappeared, Miguel, like, tells everybody else, like, hey, we are the good guys. We're trying to save everybody. All right, Jessica, Ben Riley, you're on me. And then Peter B tries to step in, like, nah, 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 nah. I've had enough out of you. I'm like, Miguel, what type of like
Yo, I
the
don't remember him being such demon time.
well, actually, I kind of do because 2099 in the comics
It's
he's kind
dark,
of
yeah.
more of the hard edged one,
Mhm.
but to this extent is kind of crazy. He full on Batman.
All right, so I know you said don't want to talk about a spoiler part, so I'm gonna handle Gwen's part first.
Yeah.
So with that, she goes into her universe and she then goes home. So she like opens her drum kit where she like has a picture of her and Miles, just to reset, go home. And her dad's there, knocked out on the couch. So she gets the picture, she's about to go, and then her dad is like there. He's like, "Hey, where are you going? Can we talk or whatever?" And man, that conversation and what you talked about, just like with the imagery told the story along with their words. So it's like the walls, they were darker. It was like running down, and she's just like, yo, if you're gonna arrest me, just arrest me. I did not kill my best friend. It's tough. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like, I can't lose another friend. And like, then he quits being a captain on the police force. So that like erases his canon event that could potentially happen. And then also just like when they reunite, the world gets so much brighter. And it felt so happy, so pure, like of goodness. And just like with that, he's like, hey, someone left this for you. It's a real piece of work. And you see the artwork of the box, and you're like, oh, it's our boy Hobie. So then we see that his finessing earlier in the show, movie, he created his own essentially like watch for time travel, and he left it for Gwen. And she's like, hey, I know what I'm supposed to do. And then she goes to Miles' Earth, and I'll leave that next part to you.
All right. So, and then as I said, Miles appears back in his reality. Of course, it's raining and everything like that. And then Miguel, Jessica, and Ben Riley, they also end up on Miles's Earth. And they're all like, hey, we're just scrambling for Miles. Like, I'm gonna need y'all to go. Basically, we're going to his apartment, we're going to his school, and we're having Jessica tell his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are the main three places he's gonna go. And then of course, as I said, like Gwen, she manages to do Ben Riley dirty. She does him dirty and gets him packed up. Uh not killed him, but KOs him.
Yes.
She gets Ben Riley packed up, which at this point that the way she did Ben Riley, that's actually a mercy compared to what happened to him in the comics. I'm just saying, we're not gonna get into that. We're not getting into that right now.
Oh boy.
But yeah. So like from there, right, we cut to Miles, and he's scrambling through the city trying to get back home, and he ends up back at his own apartment. And from there, like his mother, like Rio, just shows up, and she's like, "Hey, was like, hey, there you are." And then like Miles, he's just like, all right, I gotta tell you everything. I gotta tell you everything. I'll tell you about what's been going on and like why I've been out. And she's like, hey, you changed your hair? And like it was just like really like innocuous, like very tiny. It's like, hey, your hair looked different. And we just attributed it to the fact like this man just been going through it the entire day, and like his hair is just like all wildly and frizzed up. So we thinking it's that. And then she said like, and then he tells her like, hey, I'm Spider-Man. And then she goes, what's a Spider-Man? And we're just like, wait, hold on, what? At first, like, yeah, Spider-Man, the people from this route, like the superhero is like, oh, you mean these people from Comic-Con? I'm like, oh Lord, this is my mom. Yes, this is you. And then she gets a knock at the door, and then he lets us up in. And it's at this point, because all this is interspliced together, like it's raining in all universes, right? And
Mhm.
this is where we realize, and this is where Miles realized, like, hold up, that device scanned the spider that bit me. So I actually got sent to Earth 42,
That's
not my
glitches,
home universe. So yeah, and you want to know who walks in through I got sent to the reality without Spider-Man. Know who walks through that door? Uncle Aaron.
yeah.
And of course, Miles is just like, Uncle Aaron, I missed you, big dog. He's like, all right, kid. Like, hold up. And then of course, as Gwen, she is at actual Miles's apartment in his verse, and it's like, okay, and she ends up going inside right as like Jeff goes inside. So like Jeff and Rio, like they are essentially like talking like, okay, what are we gonna do about Miles and all of that? And then Gwen walks in from Miles's room, and they're like, hold on, what is you doing here? And to me, I'm just like, this ain't a good look. This ain't a good look. You just sneaking into a boy's room and a girl just walks out, and this girl happens to be not of the same skin tone.
Let's just say Dr. Umar was not happy.
Oh, nah. In a black household, and even more so in a Puerto Rican household, this ain't gonna fly. This would not fly at all. And sure enough, it didn't. Essentially, she just said like, "Hey, I don't know where Miles is, but I have a good trace on where." And she's like, "All right, hey, just tell Miles when you see him, he's grounded for half a year, for 5 months, basically a half a year, and come home safely."
Mm-hmm. That was touching, man. That was touching. But with the Earth 42, I know you caught it though. I know when it happened. I know you caught it because I caught it too. Because like they scanned it and they mentioned it a few times at first, and then like on the screen for a brief second it says Earth 42.
Like, it was like one frame where it just said like 42, but like I was so locked in.
We were locked in.
I thought hold on. Is he about to get sent to Earth?
As soon as he got there, I was like, it's not his Earth. It's not his Earth. It's not his Earth. It's not his Earth. And then like when it was the reveal, people in the theater were going crazy. I was like, it's not his Earth. But then with that, just with Uncle Aaron, they get on the rooftop. Miles gets knocked out just because he acting weird, and then he gets kidnapped. So with that, well, not I guess he is kidnapped. So with that, he wakes up. He's back in a nice callback to the first movie. He's tied to the punching bag, and he's just like, Uncle Aaron, I'm not from this earth. Yada yada yada. You got to send me home. My dad is alive. My Uncle Aaron didn't want to be the Prowler. This that
in this new universe in Earth 42, Jeff is dead. His daddy dead.
Yeah, so he's back in the Insomniac universe.
Yep.
So with that, then there's the big reveal that the Miles of that universe is the Prowler, and he's like, "Yo, and then he has more of the Puerto Rican accent to it, and he's like, "Your dad's dead," and he specifically says, "Your dad is dead," and then he's like, "Our Miles is like, you got to let me go," and he's like, "Why would I do that?" And I was just like, oh my gosh. And there's a mention of the Sinister Six. So this ties into the final scene where I almost fell forward out of a reclining chair. And it shows Gwen, she's talking, and it's the rain, and everybody's getting ready for the final battle. And it shows like the first one. So it's like Hobie, Spider-Man India. Then you see Spider Bite. I believe there's one more from this movie. But then Penny, and then it shows Spider-Ham and Spider-Man Noir.
And Peter B.
Yes.
And Peter B.
Peter B, yes, because she recruits him. That was the one I was thinking of. I almost jumped out my chair, fam. And when this happened, I thought there were like 40 minutes left in the movie to be continued. I was like, no.
He was livid. I know, like when I was in the theater and I was like, the squad is back. The squad is back. Let's get it. And then the movie ended, and then my entire theater was livid. They were like, no.
That was a Demon Slayer-esque cliffhanger, Sam. That's how good the movie was, because everyone was like expecting there to be more movie to happen. So like what I was saying, there is a mention of the Sinister Six cartel. Gwen knows that they're on a different Earth. Miles is on a different Earth. So what if they have to fight that Earth's Sinister Six?
What if a certain Miles is part of said Sinister Six?
Oh boy. Damn. That means we might get another Dr. Ock because he always part of the Sinister Six.
Mm-hmm.
What if there's a Venom on that Earth?
I'm just saying. Well, if it was a Venom on that Earth, that Earth is done for. I'm not even.
You saw how it looks.
There is no Spider-Man on that Earth. Venom is running roughshod on everybody. No, not just Venom. Carnage will run roughshod on everybody. No, it's running roughshod on that entire Earth.
There's no Asian Venom because he gets purified by Spider-Man. It's over.
R.I.P. to that verse, okay?
Oh man!
But also, something that I was just like that kind of got to me like right afterwards. Peep the hairstyle of the two Mileses. One had a giant afro.
Yes.
The other had cornrows. Who did that remind you of in the Black community?
Huey and Riley.
I am the storm.
Yes, we got to get Regina King to voice these two for a bit. The Freedmans, the Boondocks are here.
Wait, hold on. I know what that we're gonna put that on the to-do list. Make an edit of them two interacting, but have it be Huey and Riley.
Damn, I didn't even peep that until you just mentioned. What if they did that on purpose,
bro? I would. It's like that explains so much.
Boy, it speaks to how great the movie was, that the fact when it ended, everyone in the theater was expecting more, not for it to get like ready, because like Spot pops back up too, and he's like, yo, it's time to end this. So I'm thinking it's big battle time. We got another 40 minutes. So we're going into Beyond the Spider-Verse. Oh, what else is there to best new Spideys? Let's go there.
Oh my goodness. All right. Best new spiders out of this movie. Of course, Hobie Brown gotta be up there. Like he got that guitar. He helping our boy Miles out. He got that sibling energy.
Yes.
With Gwen, not what Miles was insinuating. So
I don't know. Spider-Man India was insinuating it too.
Oh no, Spider India. Well, kind of, but Spider India, he was more on team Miles and Gwen.
Yes.
It's like, oh, the romantic tension, and both of them kept trying to deny it. It was like, nah, it's happening.
Nah, fam.
This we've been through this roller coaster too many times. I've been through it too many emotionally times. But yeah, so like that's one. Despite how much of a demon he'd been, 2099, he gotta be there. He gotta be on the list.
I love Spider-Man India. I'm not gonna lie. He grew on me.
He cool peoples. Yeah. Who? Oh yeah. As I said, Josh Keaton as Spectacular Spider-Man, and an old boy from Spider-Man Unlimited. They got to be there. We got to be
Spider-Bite, obviously.
Spider-Bay. Yeah, she got to be there too. But oh my goodness, too many spiders.
All right. One big question: are you ready for the sequel?
I need that sequel yesterday.
Fam,
I need it 2 hours ago.
This is a mini get it off your chest. Hollywood, pay these writers. We pay these writers because 2024 we about to be eating. Like we got Godzilla versus Kong, we got Beyond the Spider-Verse, we got X-Men. I mean, not X-Men, but Deadpool with Logan. Let me tell you, if I get isekai this year, I'm coming back as a ghost. I possessing somebody's soul like Scorpion. I'm hopping up to watch some of these movies, man.
It's not mine. I will be good. I know that I get isekai'd. Just know that it won't work. All you've done is just piss me off. And we don't want that.
All right. So with that, just to kind of keep moving, oh my gosh. But one question I did want to ask, with the multiverse of the Spider-Verse, every comic book movie at the time is essentially in a multiversal period. So in 2 weeks or like a week when this podcast releases, we're going to have The Flash. You and I know the comic. We've seen the animated movie. We know time travel. This creates the New 52 universe, and they're going to use it to exactly lean into the James Gunn, Peter Safran universe. So multiverse. We don't know how that's going to split, but multiverse. In the Marvel MCU, Kang, we have Loki, different things with Doctor Strange. And why I say incursion, and in this movie they
No
use
way
canon
home.
event. Yes, no way home, exactly, which kind of leads into this. Why I say incursion, because in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, they say that okay, this Doctor Strange hopping into different universes causes an incursion. And this leads to Secret Wars. And Secret Wars obviously combines the different universes together depending on which storyline. And then Marvel is leading up to Secret Wars in like 3 years. So are the are the multiversal things kind of like clipping each other in a sense?
I think like in this case, like especially with this movie, it's basically implying like, hey, every single thing in the Spider Verse, like everything's connected. So as we know, like this movie mentioned the MCU. It also, and by extension, these two movies are part of the MCU. And then because of this movie, it also brought in Venom. It brought in the Toby and then the Andrew films. Like it's all canon. So essentially, nothing's off the table. Everything is canon. And when Secret Wars happens, time will tell who all is going to show up. Like, is there going to be like a cartoon world where like all like from the Into the Spider Verse, like everybody from the animated verses are going to be in there, and then there's just going to be a live action verse where we get everybody from Wesley Snipes Blade to Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider and everybody else. They're going to pop up in there. Essentially, at this point, nothing is off the table. Nothing. The only thing that's off the table as of right now is Marvel crossing over with DC, to which I'm just saying, get it together, guys.
And James Gunn has teased it at least, but he's gonna.
It, but ain't nothing come out of it yet. So get it together.
All right. So with that, there's so much more we can talk about. But we're gonna jump into our awards. So now we're going across the Spider Verse into award season. Meech, can you kick us off?
Alrighty, so for my first award, it is the jaw drop. The jaw drop, of course, that's where my jaw literally drops the entire time, and basically this entire movie was a jaw dropper. But if I want to have one scene in particular, it has to be where you see where they're in the Spider Society. Basically, that entire scene, because of the fact I'm seeing a bunch of spiders left and right. I'm trying to say like, all right, who's there, which costume is this? And then seeing Sun Spider, who is the paraplegic spider, and like her actually having speaking raw. I'm like, hey, yo. And then of course seeing all the live action bits in animated form, which of course proves that like, hey, this may actually be a viable thing. Like have the characters interact with animated versus, not unlike Space Jam or like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh yes.
It's like we coming in. So yeah, like that. You know what? I'm just giving it to the to Spire Society. Come get the award for jaw dropping.
All right, Miguel, please don't hurt us as you come up and off the stage. All right, so this one is a combo award because I had it different, but there's so many jump out your seat moments, but it also goes with teamwork makes the dream work. I'm going to the final scene when Gwen recruits all of the spider people. Just even with that scene where Miles, he was thought he was originally going home. They showed Spider-Man Noir, Penny, and Spider-Ham in like the windows when he was swinging, and just like showed the voices of them. Oh my goodness! And I literally almost fell on my seat, and it was reclined all the way back when this happened. Man, it's the teamwork. I cannot wait until Beyond the Spider-Verse because they're about to go crazy, and whoever else gets introduced in that movie is going to go insane. So jump out your seat moment. Teamwork makes the dream work. Please get this award.
Yep. So my next award is an award near and dear to my heart. It's the Rizzler Award. to the Grizzly Bear himself, Miles Morales of Earth 1610. I have to make that distinction because of the other one. I need you to come on down because you out here, you got that energy, my guy. You got that unspoken Riz. You got that true Riz at 15 years old. You managed to be able to bag both Spider Gwen and Spider Bite. Just all I have to do is I have to warn you. With great power like this, there must also come great responsibility. Don't let this be a Gwen and MJ scenario. Don't let this be a MJ and Black Cat scenario. I just have to say, sir, just use your Riz wisely. Just use your power wisely, use it responsibly, and just take this award because you rightfully deserve it, you Riz Lord.
All right, for our next award, we have Music for the Soul. So this is going to two people. So we have the actual composer of the soundtrack, who is Daniel Pemberton, because just like even with the intro where it kind of leaned into like, oh, we're getting that introduction. And then with Gwen just like banging on the drums, going crazy, where it's like, oh, okay, we ready for this? And then also the other album, Metro Boomin.
Oh,
have you heard that soundtrack?
Yeah.
Fam, that goes crazy. Just, oh my gosh, the music for the soul. And then like the ending scene, well, not the ending scene, but like the post-credit scene, just like that song, and then just the hype for it, where it's like your biggest op is yourself, him facing off with his own version of the Prowler. Man, music for the soul. Come get this award, both of you.
And now for the final award, you know what time it is. The Black Air Force Award. Miguel O'Hara, you know what time it is, sir. You need to get up here. For your just pure demon time activity, your willingness to about to execute Italian vulture with your fangs, becoming a vampire. Your brooding is on Batman tier levels. The fact that you went after Miles just extra hard and just telling him that you basically a mistake. I'm like, bro, you kind of out of pocket, and the way you choke slam my boy into that train, and the way you was chasing after him, it was pure demon timing just from start to finish. You was the only time you actually had a soft heart was when you recruited Gwen to the cause, and that was about it. After that, you was elsewhere. You laced up the forces. You were just a pure demon. I don't know what else to say, because you was giving people the beats. You were giving the talons, the claws, the fangs, everything, and I'm kind of scared of you right now. Just please take this award. Just take it.
You know what's crazy? If you take a step back, you can actually kind of see Miguel's point in the movie.
You see the point, but it's just the way he delivered it was just on something else.
Purest of demon times. So now we're going to get into the tiers of the movie. Do we need to list them off?
No, we do not. You know what time it is. You know what we about to pick.
This is only the second time in podcast history where we are both giving it an S tier rating. Cosmic Spider-Man. the
elite of the elite.
Yes. S tier movie. I think it's better than the first one because the first one is amazing. This one is just insane. This is one of the best movies I've ever seen.
All I have to say is just I will watch this movie again and again. I will watch it legally, illegally. I will rewatch it. I will make sure my kids grow up on this movies. I will ensure that, because essentially what this just boils down to, this is the year of Miles. And I am 100% here for it. All right. But yes, you just
we double S tier rating. Across the Spider-Verse, please go see this movie, people. I know we're doing movie reviews. The way people are talking about The Flash, it really better bring it. That's all I'm going to say. It really better bring it.
I mean, Marvel already won, but there's no coming back from this. But we're
talking about individual movies. It's over for DC.
I mean, no, I'm just saying. As of this year, Marvel won.
Yeah, we're
specifically eating. Sony won.
Yo, it does not make sense how Sony makes so many bad live action movies, but for these two, it's like two of the best movies ever created in terms of this like genre. So
Yep. So get your just go watch the movie, get your PS5s ready. And I don't feel sorry for anybody who can't.
all
You got
right.
time.
So with that, we definitely gotta take a break, get some water. Let's hit you up with the sponsor for the day.
For today's sponsor, we have ourselves the Spider Society. If you have been bitten by a radioactive, genetically engineered spider, or have had your DNA spliced with a spider, or bonded with a symbiote that gives you spider-based abilities, come join the Spider Society. You may be a part-time member or a full-time member, to where you are responsible for protecting the web of life and destiny. You come in and you're able to stop incursions from happening and ensuring that canon events maintain their steady course. Please be warned that if you are not or to break any of these rules, your privileges will be revoked, and whatever universe you land in, you will subsequently be eradicated. Come join the Spider Society today and beware of the wrath of 2099.
Nope. So with that, both of us being web heads, venom heads, just loving the entire Spider-Man universe. This deep dive is more of a come get your rose to Spider-Man himself. Just like the concept of it, Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, anybody like that, and just why we really love this character. So let's get into it. First question. Just for us to kind of just geek out about it and kind of explain why so many people in general love Spider-Man, but why did you fall in love with the character other than Venom?
Dang, you took my number one reason, but well, it's because Spider-Man is essentially unlike other superheroes who are pretty much like the ideal or like some type of goal or kind of idealistic. Nah, Spider-Man shows how real it can be when trying to be a superhero. And the fact like he was a teenager when he got his powers and just seeing all the struggles he go through from relationships to money problems to just everything in between. Spider-Man, like he's shown to make mistakes. Some very much no, I'm not gonna get into it, but make some mistakes. He made critical errors in judgment, and there's actual consequences for it. Whereas, like in other comics, like a character may make a mistake, but it gets rectified. The Spider-Man, some of these mistakes tend to be ever long going. But the thing that keeps me with Spider-Man is the fact that like he keeps going no matter what, and he just like he will keep going. He'll keep being a hero and keeps doing his absolute best. And the fact that like everyone in Marvel loves Spider-Man, like loves his character, loves Spider-Man, and will ride or die for this man, unless it's Civil War. But we're not getting into that. But yeah, that's just some of the reasons why I loved him, and also having a mask made it immediately more so for me because like, hey, I could be under that mask. I can be Spider-Man, which is what Stan Lee was trying to get into when he created the character.
Yeah, I love what you said about him being relatable. Like when we both know the 90s Jetix, Fox Kids, ABC Family Spider-Man that used to come on back in the day.
Yeah.
Just like the love we have for that. But you're right, like Spider-Man was the first superhero that felt relatable, even when it was only just Peter Parker, because when he got his powers, he was in high school, he was a student. And like a lot of the other characters, like an Iron Man, billionaire, rich, can create stuff like this. Captain America, soldier, born in the 40s, man out of time. Thor is a literal god. Batman, he's a billionaire. Superman, he's an alien. And just like Bruce Banner, he's like I think I mentioned about super scientist. And like Peter at the time, he was a nerd. He was smart, but he wasn't like the super smart one that we like know today.
Yep.
So it's like relatable. Like he made mistakes, and like why for the longest time Spider-Man 2 was my favorite superhero movie of all time is because it put it to the forefront, taking what it did in like Spider-Man 1, where it's like I can't be with MJ because like if I'm with her, it's gonna put her in the face of my enemies. And the internal struggle that he had in that movie where he literally lost his powers because he just couldn't, like it was just hurting him. And with Spider-Man, it's just like, man, like what you said with the mask, like he's one of the few characters where anybody or anything could be Spider-Man and you're fine with it. There's not a lot of characters that are like that, to be honest with you, where like they wouldn't just feel like a knockoff of the OG character.
Yep, agreed. And in fact, like you can see, like, hey, this person's worthy to be Spider-Man. Like, look at the Spider-Verse itself. You have hundreds, millions of different spiders of all different type of race and genders. Like, this isn't like another different like another verse where it's just basically like I'm just using the Superman for example, like DC, because like with DC and their infinite like multiverse, most of the like 99% of the time, like their verse consists of, all right, this is just the same Superman, but in this time or that time. When it comes to Spider-Man, you may get like, all right, this may be Peter Parker, or this is Miles Morales. Like, oh yeah, no, this is Spider-Man India. This is Spider Ninja. You get like just one of different, like one of every single type of like race, gender, like disability, or anything like that, and it still feels like Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's something I want to get into. Like, also just like the diversity in this movie, like where, but it's like, it's not like that's what makes the movie great. It's like what we talked about in the Bitter Root comic, where it's like, we're just people that exist. We so happen to be XYZ. And you can tell our story that way. And like, I'm like seeing things where people are like, oh, I can connect with that. Growing up in Brooklyn, being like mixed race and different things like that. Or like a Gwen Stacy, where it's like, yo, Gwen Stacy killed it in this movie. And it's just like so incredible where I want the Ghost Spider outfit because it's also sick. But just like different things like that, where it's just like so many cool parts and you don't that's it's gonna break records, and that doesn't have to be the final selling point. Diversity isn't just like, change character X to character Y and we're fine. It's just like don't be afraid to tell that character's story, and it works so perfectly in this movie, which is another reason why I love the Spider-Man character. So kind of with that, why do you think he's the face of Marvel?
I mean, besides all the reasons we mentioned, like Spider-Man is the face of Marvel because, well, he was the highest selling character, and the reason why is because of what we mentioned, because of the fact like he's the most relatable to kids, he's the most marketable. He has like some of the best movies, uh, especially like in the early 2000s,
Oh
and
yeah.
and at the same time, like he's just one of those characters where it's like relatable, sometimes humble. Like he has humble origins. Like his origin story is world famous.
Mm-hmm.
And like when you think of kind of like the big three in terms of just superheroes in general, it's always the same three: Batman, Superman, Spider-Man.
Yes.
Like Spider-Man carries Marvel on his back, even though right now we're gonna get into it later.
That's different. That's different. But yeah, like you say, he carries him on the back. I mean, like especially just during that time period of the Tobey Maguire series, where like movies then were very hit or miss until The Dark Knight came out. So just like yeah, and then like him, like the response to him joining that universe, like in the Civil War for the first time, everyone lost their minds with that. So yeah, that kind of tells you a lot.
Folks were crying at just the trailer of him.
I was crying.
I was too. No. One of what had me crying was them announcing like it's like, oh yeah, Marvel partnering up with Sony to have Spider-Man in the MCU. That actually had me in tears more so than the trailer itself because I was like, it finally happened.
So with that, where would you rank Spider-Man one, two, or three between what you just mentioned? I think Superman is a solid three, and it's between Spider-Man and Batman.
Oh no. In terms of one, two, three, it goes Spider-Man, Batman, Superman in that order.
Batman pushes it, but you are, I would say, 100% correct.
Yeah, it's like Batman, like as of late, like Batman, he been wilding too much, like, and he be getting way too unrealistic. He be surviving stuff like, no, you are human, you is not surviving that, and it just takes me out of the story immediately.
That's fair. In terms
I,
of like, yeah, right?
like Spider-Man, at least, like, okay, you got superhuman abilities, all right, I can get that. And then comes moments where like you getting the tar beaten out of you by a normal person, but I'm like, oh wait, we're not about to talk about that. I'm not about to get into it again.
We'll get into it soon, people. We'll let you know why we're avoiding something. But just to list the upcoming projects that I know of, I know there's more. You already mentioned the Superior Spider-Man comic run coming up. I know there's supposed to be a Spider-Man Noir live series. They're trying to get a Spider-Woman movie going with Jessica Carpenter, and then obviously Beyond the Spider-Verse. Hopefully next year, this writer strike needs to end immediately, and then new trilogy with Tom Holland, which that might be fire too. I'm not gonna lie to you. And then we also have Craven the Hunter series coming up.
In that one, your faith in Craven the Hunter. I'm not even gonna hold you.
So, oh, and then also just the game as well, the
yeah,
Spider-Man 2.
Come on.
So, considering all the projects, upcoming projects in next 3 to 5 years, which Spider-Man will be the one we think of? Well, you think of when the name is mentioned.
I mean, like as it appears, everybody's gonna think of Peter. Like we all think of that origin. We all know that origin. We all know like just his appearance and just everything like that. You know, especially when it comes to the Tobey films and whatnot. But that's like our generation. Yep. This new generation, right? I think it's still going to be Peter, but there's going to be a lot more Miles in there too. Mm-hmm. And like depending on just how much Miles is going to be eating soon, just from this year alone, some people are kind of starting to slowly prefer Miles to Peter.
Yes, and I know they're thinking of also a live action Miles Morales movie. So we used to pray for days like these. You don't understand. The nerds are winning right now.
Eating.
We're eating. So I think you're right. I feel like Peter is the Spider-Man. Quotation marks around that. And again, that's our generation Spider-Man. So I'm always going to rock with Peter. But Miles is kind of like the cool Spider-Man at the moment. Yes. And it's crazy. I believe Miles got introduced right when we were teenagers.
2011.
So Miles got introduced when we were essentially teenagers. With that, it was like for us, it was like, man, a black Spider-Man. That's super cool. That's like he has his own origin story on Earth. Really cool. So it was like a novelty. And then like we would see him pop up from time to time and it'd be like, okay, this is cool. Like honestly, like we played more of like Miguel O'Hara because I remember him being in the Edge of Time Spider-Man game, which was fire. So with that, Miles popped up more and more. Like he'd be in like the TV show as well. But I feel like in the comic run, especially the second Spider-Verse crossover, when he got to be Captain Universe and had the Enigma Force, that was like Marvel essentially passing the torch and saying, you can stand as your own as a Spider-Man, and then like the merging of the worlds where it's like it's not him his separate comic run, it's like he's also in this universe, which was super cool. And then also with the games, even though the Miles Morales Spider-Man game was much shorter than the first, it says something that they gave him his own game, and then in this upcoming one you can alternate between the two. I don't know how much you can alternate between the two. I get the feeling it's going to be like 60-40 Peter Miles, but even still, like that says a lot. So I think the younger generation is going to prefer Miles, but with Tom Holland also carrying his new trilogy, Spider-Man No Way Home broke so many records. It's a top 10 box office movie of all time. So it's tough, man.
Yeah. And also we got to consider the ages of the characters. Like Peter's typically is going to be the more older one.
He
between the
has
two of
to.
them.
Yeah.
Like, and Miles is typically the younger one, typically more of the kid, and more of that. I know, like with Tom Holland, like of course he has that baby face, and like he looks like a kid. In fact, that's what he was in high school. But if when this new trilogy comes out, they gonna have this man either in college or as a full grown adult. Like he ain't gonna be no kid no more.
I mean, he has to. I mean, like he reset the universe where like he's on his own now. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. We'll see.
And Venom.
All right. So with that, what you would like to see next? I want to I want you to calm down, but I'm about to say something that's going to go crazy. Now let's think about this, right? So obviously they're teasing Venom with Eddie Brock, but I think his next movie, which is like also an upcoming project, may or may not be his last. But there's a different symbiote in the that universe that we in the main universe with Tom Holland, the MCU. There was also a tease at the end of the first Spider-Man movie of Scorpion. One of the second Venom runs, or where he was like really demon time, was Scorpion Venom. Would you want to see that?
You already know the answer.
Oh,
I just need Venom. Period. I don't care. Well, actually, I do semi care who's under the hood. Who's under the symbiote. It has to be either Eddie Brock. It has to be some. These are my main ones. You need to have Eddie Brock as kind of like the heroic one. Well, he can start off on pure demon time and then come an anti-hero. I'll be fine with that. Flash Thompson, fully heroic. We need Peter for demon time activity, like in Spider-Man 2. I'm about to go crazy. We need Matt Gargan in there to be a full-blown monster. And that's all I care about.
anything else you want to see?
Let's see, what else do I want to see? I'm gonna need like an actual Sinister Six, because we got robbed in No Way Home because it was only
They needed one more character.
They literally just needed one more. It could have been Mysterio. You could have just, because there was no representation from Tom Holland's verse.
That's true.
So you could have done Mysterio and you could have made it work. You could have done Vulture. I'm gonna need them to cancel Kraven the Hunter. I'm gonna need them to cancel Morbius 2 or whatever they got going on.
No way. No way they're making a Morbius 2.
No, I'm just saying, like, if they did, I need them to cancel that dream immediately. I need Venom to be on screen with Spider-Man. I need Miles to just run roughshod against Carnage, even though he's kind of getting his tail whooped right now.
I mean, it's God Carnage, man.
But still, we need Miles to face off against the symbiote. Fortunately, Spider-Man 2 is gonna have that, and the current comic runs, Miles is kind of getting worked right now, but we're that's neither here nor there. Some other projects I would like to see, like some other auxiliary spiders, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna need a Superior Spider-Man TV show or a movie.
What if he pops up beyond the Spider-Verse? Are you gonna be okay?
No, I will not. And in fact, if Superior Venom's gonna be in there, you might as well just kill me. You might as well send me straight to the gulag, because I will die.
You will ascend at that moment.
Yes, I will become cosmic. Cosmic Superior Spider Meech, which actually happened in the comics. I'm just saying. In the Cosmic Superior, I will.
Yeah, I would actually, maybe not a Kraven the Hunter movie, but I would love to see a Kraven in a Spider-Man movie. Also, like I mentioned, Matt Gargan, I want to see a Scorpion. For other ones, see, the thing is, I feel like they could do a good Hobgoblin movie. The problem is, it's just he's such a knockoff of the Green Goblin that in a movie he won't work.
I mean, okay, so here's the thing. It can work as long as it's Ned leads. Like, if it's the MCU, it has to be Ned. And even though, like, technically Ned was not Hobgoblin, he was still a Hobgoblin.
Right.
And then at the same time, though, as you mentioned, like, who gonna outdo Willem the Goat?
We've seen a version of Green Goblin in 4 Spider-Man movies with William Dafoe twice, We had Harry in Spider-Man 3, and then we also had Harry again in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. So that's like 4 Goblin variants. If he popped up in He's not, but if he popped up in Daredevil Reborn, that would actually be really cool. But I don't think they're going to do that. So also a Fisk would be interesting.
Yes.
If Fisk was the main boss and he worked under Fisk, that would work. Marvel, send us that check.
No. Here's how I'm gonna need y'all to send me my check right now. I'm gonna need the new Fantastic Four. Just give me live action new Fantastic Four. Give me Spider-Man. Give me Wolverine. Give me Ghost Rider. Give me Hulk. Give me all 4 of them together in a room. In fact, just have them fight together. I just need that, please, and thank you.
That's not happening. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Listen, it will happen. I will. You know what I'm capable of when I'm fully passionate about something. I will ensure that it happens.
Have you seen Hulk recently? Yeah, it has to be a dad.
And I'm just going to say this real kindly. Screw them kids. But at the same time, it also don't have to be them 4 specifically. There's always others. You know, we can swap out Logan with Laura. We can always swap out Hulk if he on his pacifist behavior. We can swap him out with She-Hulk, or you can swap him out with Red Hulk. You can swap him out with Immortal Hulk. We can swap him out with Weapon H. I don't care.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started on Immortal Hulk, man. Please don't get me started on Hulk.
And then Ghost Rider, you just have to get my man's right. You can stick with Johnny Blaze. You can give us Danny Ketchum. You can give us Robbie Reyes. You can give us our boy Cosmic Ghost Rider. I don't care who. Listen, I have a full lineup. I have a full list of who you can replace for each of the 4. But as long as it's that specific combination of a Spider-based one, a Hulk-based one, a Wolverine-based one, and a Ghost Rider, I don't care who. Come give me my money. Pay the writers.
Oh, yes. We could go off on that. Listen to our Immortal Hulk episode with that. So moving forward, I also want to see like a real Rhino. But moving forward, one thing we got to talk about that we've been avoiding this entire time. It's a get it off your chest segment, which I was going to go off on Netflix, but that'll be another day. But it's a get it off your chest segment related to the new Spider-Man run, which has been very, very controversial for a variety of reasons. I will let my boy Meech talk about it.
Platform, and you know I'm about to destroy this man. All right, Zeb Wells, come here. Firstly, here's some positives about this run. John Romita, he still got it. His artwork's not that bad. I love that Peter and Felicia are together. And I want them to stay together. And want them to actually, get hitched, because apparently Marvel has something against Peter Parker being happy and something against Peter Parker being with Mary Jane. So give him Black Cat. Of course you can't give him Gwen because Gwen's all Miles. But yeah, that's the only good parts. And now I get to talk, or not talk, ramble. Get to put Zeb Wells on a t-shirt. All right, so here we go. This run is an absolute catastrophe. All right. So, of course, the main portion of this. Oh yeah, another good is that Norman Osborn. He actually on his good behavior, and I actually kind of like him. But that's about it. But yeah, this run is a complete catastrophe. So the main pitch of this run is just like, hey, it's a large time gap of, I believe, 6 months, and it's just the question of what did Peter do? Because it was all about like, all right, Peter did something to ostracize himself from his family, from his friends. Like Peter and Mary Jane are broken up. She's actually with another guy named Paul. And I'm going to get into Paul later. But also apparently they got kids now. So I'm like, hey, yo, what's going on? And then this whole series meanders. Like, You thought the Nick Spencer run was full of meandering. No, this was meandering to the nth degree, because the only reason you read it is to figure out how did Peter screw everything up, because at the end of the last run, like, he was doing good. He was out here living his best life. He was about to move in with Mary Jane. He was gonna pop the question, and then bam, nothing, everything gone sideways. And the fact is that he made us wait, I believe, close upwards of like a year, maybe even 2. I don't know anymore, but like upwards of that amount, just to have a reveal of him using a villain that he used for 3 issues in a previous run from Amazing Spider-Man, like 555 through 557. And his name is Rabin. And Rabin, he's a cultist, and he all he wants to do is to sacrifice people so he can ascend to the god way up. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but I do not honestly care. And at this point, and that was just like a one and done. We never heard hide nor hair from him again till just now. And apparently what happened was Rabin ended up teleporting him, Peter, and Mary Jane to an alternate future dimension where everything is just messed up, everybody dead, and they have to try to stop Rabin from trying to kill both of them so he can ascend to godhood. To which at this point I'm just like, Pete, you have Eddie Brock on speed dial. Call this God. Call this man. You may not know what's been going on, but like, of course, Eddie Brock he kind of going through it as a King Black, but you don't know that. So call that man. Do something. And so, of course, in this alternate dimension, there's no tech and whatnot. And then they run into Paul, and Paul basically like creates a device and ends up sending Peter back to the home universe. And then once he gets there, he just starts going off the handle and just starts trying to attack. Basically, he steals from the Fantastic Four. He basically just goes full aggro on them. He doesn't explain himself. Like, this is the thing. Peter Parker was acting super irrational throughout this entire series because, I mean, sure, he was in a bind, but normally when Peter was like in a bind like that, he still had enough faculties to talk it out. He did not talk it out with anybody. He just fought. He just fought the Fantastic Four just because they wouldn't give him what he needed. And then he stole it. He fought Captain America and just one-tapped him. Yes, he one-taps Captain America. Hello? Also, let's not forget, and don't forget, he may be one-tapping Captain America, but he still gets his butt whooped and have him begging for his life against Tombstone. Such inconsistency is basically the main issues with this comic is just how inconsistent Peter's like powers are, how inconsistent him as a character is, and just the fact that the reveal of like why him and MJ are broken up is because of the fact that when he returned, like he ends up working with Norman Osborn with the stolen tech from the Fantastic Four to get himself back to that universe, only to find out years have gone by, and like him and like MJ and Paul, they just got close. They did not think Peter was ever coming back, which I'm just like, fam, MJ, you should know better. You should know better. And she ends up getting together with Paul, and then they find like 2 kids out in the wastelands, and they just adopt them. And you're just like, oh, MJ. And then it's revealed that Paul is actually the son of Rabin, aka the person trying to kill them. And Peter finds out about this, he's freaking out. And then MJ's like, yeah, I knew about it. No, I would have been Peter in Spider-Man 3. Put on the black suits. It would have been over for everybody. And now, and also, but here's the main thing that's going to piss everybody off is the fact that in this Spider-Man run, I do have to preface this with it's a Spider-Man run. They kill off probably one of the most popular characters in recent years, one of the most popular Muslim characters, one of the most popular teen characters apart from Miles. they kill off Kamala Khan. Now we know that in comics they gonna bring everybody back. We know that, that's for sure. And plus she got a movie coming out, so they're inevitably gonna bring Kamala Khan back from the dead. Mm-hmm. But the fact that they brought her into this comic run, seemingly out of nowhere, just to kill her off, and that is super disrespectful. Super disrespectful for all of that. And to have like Peter just basically crying over Kamala Khan, and then you find out that the kids weren't real, so they got disappeared. They got Thanos snapped.
Wanda kids.
They screw them kids. And MJ is now crying just over the dead kids when Miss Marvel, who saved her life, is dead. Oh no!
I'm gonna need you to tag me in, Coach.
Forget it. Here, take over.
Fam, you hit the nail on the head, man. I was watching Blurred Without Fear talk about this, and like with her dying, yes, her movie's coming out, so it gives you a chance to reset the character. But he was talking about like how much she was actually in the comic book, and it was not enough to like really justify her dying. And what you said was excellent, where it was like, it's a Spider-Man comic run. Why do you get to kill off Kamala Khan in a Spider-Man comic book run? And then like even Blurred Without Fear that he mentioned that I didn't think about was like, Kamala Khan died so MJ could live. That's not a good look. Like, I believe you can write whatever, like as an author, you can write whatever story you want to. That's just not a good look. Like, there's no other way to say it. So is this run worse than One More Day?
Steve, this is my big deal, right? If it wasn't for One More Day, this probably wouldn't have happened. But this is close. This is probably the second coming of One More Day. It's just that horrendous.
It's bad. And for people that aren't comic book fans, One More Day is the Mephisto storyline. You can look that up if you will, where Please they don't. Completely broke Peter Parker's character in every like consistency point. So with that, we're going to do a segment we haven't done in a long time. It's called Make the Call. So this is a segment where I call my good friend and as an executive of a company, and we try to fix things. So it's time to make the call.
Hello?
Hello, is this the Superior Spider-Mage?
The die is cast, I am him.
Yes, this is Spider-Man 95 from Marvel Comics. We've been getting a lot of just hate regarding the Zeb Wells comic run of Spider-Man.
That's about right.
We kind of want to know how we would fix it. We've had a good relationship before. You've made some pretty good calls. Like when I was working at DC, we hired James Gunn immediately after that conversation. So what do you got for us? Let's save our guy.
All right. So the first thing you need to do is just burn everything down to the ground and start right back over. I would say cancel the entire Spider-Man run, replace it with the Superior Spider-Man, and just do this all over again. But knowing y'all probably will never do that option, and knowing that it's probably not gonna be a lucrative option for folks, here's my suggestions on how you can fix all of this. Number one, all right, is that you revive Kamala Khan. You just bring her back immediately. Like it made no sense for you to kill her off in a Peter Parker Spider-Man story, especially considering her and Peter rarely ever interact. It would have made slightly more sense if it was in a Miles book or in Champions, but not in here. Bring her back immediately. And then all right, and now, well, at the end of that run, it seemed like he's back on the up and up with all of the comic book characters who he seemingly ostracized himself from, including Mary Jane. I mean, including Aunt May, Mary Jane, and then all right. So here's how you can rectify the Mary Jane and the Paul situation. Okay, so seeing as how Mary Jane is completely out of pocket these days, and the fact that even though she got superpowers and everything, you have two options for her. You can either have her move away from New York, away from Peter Parker, or you can kill. It's either you kill her or you kill Paul. You pick one. So you have one of three options. Again, Have her move away from New York, have her away from Peter Parker, just write her off of the comics completely because he's actually having a good relationship with Felicia Hardy. Make that your central relationship. But do not muck it up like DC did with Batman and Catwoman, because they fumbled that hard, and they could have, they made bank off of that wedding issue. That didn't end up happening. So just do the same, but let the wedding hit. Let it stay. And if you really, really want Spider-Man to get back together with Mary Jane, got to kill off Paul, or you have to explain it kind of like Avengers 200, where she was under the mind control of Paul, and have him turn out to be a supervillain who was manipulating her the entire time. That's the only way you can salvage her character, because if you don't, you didn't piss off every single Spider-Man fan. Mary Jane is unsalvageable, and then people want her to die, or for have Gwen Stacy to get resurrected, or just have Peter stay with Black Cat. But that's all talk about all the auxiliary characters. Let's talk about Peter Parker, because he's kind of the central problem. You guys just do not want to have Peter Parker be happy or be consistent at all. Let the man live his best life. Let him grow up. You have the Miles Morales comic to explore, like, a younger Spider-Man. At this time, I believe he's actually is in a dating relationship. So you can explore that. You can explore just the real baseline issues, like real life issues, like, hey, money issues. Hey, I have relationship issues. Hey, I can't balance my work life. That works more with Miles, considering the fact he's younger and that he's where Peter Parker started at. Mm-hmm. So you can leave that with Miles, and with Peter, have him be the grown-up. Have him be kind of the adult. Sure, you can still have him have issues, but have him be like, we're sick and tired of the money issues. We are sick and tired of him just not communicating with family and friends. He should have that together, even though he's supposed to be like in his 30s, and he's been around in comics since 1960s, but we're not going to talk about that right now. So just have him be the grown-up. Have him do things right. Don't have him be a man-child anymore. Just let Peter live.
Yeah, that was super helpful. We'll definitely take that under consideration, and we're going to get our guy back on track with the comics. So thank you a lot.
I mean, it's either that or just have Superior take over again. We're fine with either.
All right. So with that, we are wrapping up this episode. Again, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, one of the best movies that we've seen in a very, very long time, just period. So with that, next week, something to look forward to is our Transformers Rise of the Beast episode. So anything else you got, Mitch, before we get into our recommendations and blogs?
Just go see this movie. That's all I can say. Just go see it.
All right. Yeah. So now we will get into our recommendations. My recommendations is everything Spider-Man. You can catch that on just Disney Plus. And then also, if you want to play the games, Sony Spider-Man, it's on PlayStation. Previous Spider-Man games. We also have Web of Shadows, which is absolutely incredible. I know you like that because of Venom. Edge of Time was another one. So different things like that. And then obviously the Marvel just comics, any storyline run you would want to.
Yes. So in terms of like my recommendations, comics wise, if you want to read more Miles Morales, look up the Saladin Ahmed run. That was the run that concluded beforehand. Had some pure Miles heat. You have the current run with Cody Ziegler. As I said, my man's is kind of going through it right now because he's fighting Carnage. So R.I.P. And then of course you have the original run, like Ultimate Comics Miles Morales. Look up where he came from. Look up his debut. Like that's like read your history on my boy Miles. And if you want to read more Peter, actually scratch that. You're rereading Otto Octavius Superior Spider-Man issues 1 through 32, baby. Read Avenging Spider-Man issues 15.1 all the way through to Superior Spider-Man Team Up number 16. Well, actually, to that entire comic run. Boom. There you go. That's all your Otto Octavius needed. Read Spider-Man. That's where Miles and Peter cross over for the first time. Read Spider-Verse, Spider Armageddon. That one's more Miles centric rather than the Peter centric Spider-Verse. Read everything. Read like everything from Brand New Day onwards, all the way through to Spider-Verse. That's the Dan Slott run that encompasses everything, including Superior Spider-Man. If you want to read more classic Peter, I would say like read the J.M. DeMatteis run from the early 2000s. So yeah, that's pretty much my recommendations there.
All right, dope. So now we can get into our plugs.
All right, so we have ourselves our Instagram and our Twitter at BlurredCity22. Give us a like and give us a follow and give us a subscribe. Go ahead and also give us a subscribe on our YouTube and our Patreon under Blurred City Pod. And if you donate a little extra cheddar, you get to see like extra episodes that you may not have seen before or since. After that, we have ourselves our Discord, which is linked in our Instagram page. Come join the fine citizenry that is Blurred City. And then finally we have ourselves our email address at blurredcity22@gmail.com, where you can submit different segments, submit your reactions to the movie, submit everything so we can have that on our podcast for the next future episodes. And then finally, for our personal page, I'm the Rogue Jedi 21 on TikTok, however long that remains online. And then also we have ourselves the Ravens of Everkeep, the Vanished Comic Podcast. That's also found on YouTube. And that's all I have.
Yes, for my individual author pages, we have my Instagram at Mitri_dash, METRI_DASH. For my Twitter at @themat-16. And if you want to catch my book, Phantom Pains, The Most Irregular Tale, that is available on Amazon. So as usual, we will leave the people with some words of encouragement.
All right. So for my words of encouragement, it's that you can and you are able to change your destiny. Don't let whatever people say about you, whatever they say, like, hey, your trajectory is here or there, define what you are able to do right now, because you're able to make your own choices. You're able to make your own decisions. And despite what other people may say about it, it's your decision at the end of the day. So don't let others try to influence you from completing what you need to do.
Yes. And yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. Just as long as you have that will in you, you can always fight your fate. So it's not goodbye forever. It's just goodbye for now. To be continued on the Blurred City Podcast.
See ya later.